Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Inquiring Together. My name is Anthony Barreto, and on this channel, we look to bring science into political science, explore the interplay between advanced technology alongside our relationship to the world, whether if we could figure out for ourselves how to move forward together. And on this episode, we're going to ask, what does the future hold for a legal professional? You may be like myself, who have attended law school, sought to attend law school, and or have become a lawyer. And perhaps like myself, there was a vision of what should be. And I had, throughout college, wanted to become a lawyer and perhaps attend an Ivy League school. And with that degree under my name, I would be able to succeed and excel and find myself within the inner circle of politics. And when it came down to test my ability to logically reason on terms of reading comprehension, and to play games with logic, I sought to be in the top percentile of applicators. And yet I couldn't. I couldn't be in the top percentage. And at the time, it was very crushing because I'd figured, why not me? And I did somewhat take into account that by the time I was a teenager, sharpening the tool of thought was not quite my interest any longer. There was a great disillusionment with it. And perhaps it was attributed to playing video games or watching tales and depictions of tales that dealt with artificial intelligence and its paradoxical effect, as well as a teenager, coming to find order and sanity and intelligence free from the known, from knowledge and memory and experience, and questioning how this freedom could find itself articulated for myself in the future, as well as to be honestly expressed in the constraints of the way that humanity separates itself in roles, positions, and the like. So by this time, I was able to go ahead and get a pretty good opportunity at a law school. And halfway through, it became apparent to me that I would be an applicator of knowledge, memory, and experience. That would be my role. In law school, we find that we learn knowledge about the law, and then we gather experience by studying it and prompting ourselves on the material, putting the material into memory, and then applying it formulaically. When it comes to writing, it's the establishment of a formulaic response, and we have to accurately, succinctly, and persuasively demonstrate what the law is, what the facts are, and how the facts apply to this case, to this matter. And so, if you have had the law school experience, then you know that it's very competitive. because the way that money is allotted is to someone's thoughts, to my thoughts, to your thoughts, and the application of those thoughts. And so, with grades, is the first step into being able to demonstrate that you deserve a great deal of money for applying knowledge, memory, and experience, because your application is a cut above the rest. And I had fun in law school because I was not yet ready to get serious about really honestly expressing what it means for the observer to be the observed and the ramifications for that as it applies to this profession. So I would do things like, upon the first days of class, having studied the material on my own before the semester began, and raising my hand and giving the correct responses. And then, as the class moved forward, the competitive nature began, like a chain reaction. But then my questioning and my responses would become more experimental, because I was still looking to find how exactly I was gonna be able to be free as an individual and innovate in a profession which is clearly not focused on how much of an umbrella issue AI is. And certainly the legal profession is aware of AI, is aware of the legal assistance that it'll provide. It may be even aware of how sophisticated it already is and the potential for its sophistication within the very near future. Very near is in the time scale of being perhaps a young man, a young woman, and having student loans to pay back, and having to finance a mortgage, one that you can pay off within your lifetime, having the biological clock of raising and providing for children. And so, if we're talking, let's say, maximum 10 years, that's still a whole lot of lawyers, ranging from their mid to late 20s all the way to their mid 40s, let's say, that will find themselves applying knowledge, memory, and experience without the gap that made for money to be so, let's say, lucrative for lawyers. That gap was the knowledge gap. Clientele, the average person, says to themselves, I don't know the law. I don't know the law at all. I don't know the law. I don't know how to apply it. I don't know about court proceedings. I don't know about how to skillfully persuade. I don't know what I should say in court. I don't know what I should do in court. I don't know what to expect from a lawyer. I don't know the rules that guard their profession. I don't know. And eventually, we'll come to the point where AI is the middleman between an attorney, client, co-counsel, the judge, or the bar, insurance liability companies, and other sorts of, even other bar associations. And so the momentum of thought, which is the past, is strong. It creates a vision of the future based on the past, only to find that the future is now. And so what happens to lawyers is that we find that a lawyer is made up of the past. It is a condition that we've entered this world and society has made for. And so the mental health issues, the stress, the concerns, the professional issues, the view of lawyers in society, the outpouring of distaste for the profession, all these things are signs of disorder, of which will not be able to then resolve for this paradox. Because the brain is occupied not only with all of that, but with recognition, honors, as well as political gap filling. Now, what is this gap in its most sincere form? It is the gap between observer and observed, is it not? What is the gap between observer and observed? This gap is to account for thought. Thought being knowledge, memory, and experience. And the separation between thinker and thought being the world, thought being made up of the world, creating for this division within us. It creates division without us, which is political partisanship and its severity at the moment in this country. And all of that is taking up space in the brain, making for an inability to come to this picture as a whole. So, when it comes to the AI issue, predominantly the question becomes, what about my job, my role, my money? Because my money is attached to my thoughts. A signature at the end, a bar number at the end, a picture of me correlating the symbols on that page with my bank account and the money that is used to shelter me, to eat food. Are we not interconnected and interdependent? Competitive nature of an industry would suggest that no, we're not. The competitive nature, the tool of reputation and recognition versus ignoring and unknowing. The word association associated with the law, practice of law. Association and disassociation. Between right and wrong. Between fair and unfair. Between like and disliked. Are we not clients, judges, lawyers, bar associations, Are we not conceptualizations of thought? And that the entities mentioned do not exist in nature. And so they are interconnected, interdependent in the field of thought, in the plane of thought. Is there a way to financially represent this interconnection and interdependence? There is. There's a growing and burgeoning networking tool, an advancement of the internet, and relating currency and communication and contracting in mass on interconnection and interdependence to account for value. Now, what this value is for the future is the question which will remain and will be beginning to be questioned soon enough. Whether general relativity is a value, whether the non-locality of the universe is a value, whether the freedom from conflict is of value. But as we're trained, we're looking into the details, into the weeds, every day. Wanting to know the details, whether the details will come to the big picture.